Super Smash Kart 64 is being discontinued until further notice. I know that may come as a surprise to a lot of you, but hopefully you'll understand once I explain why. Or, more fittingly to start, show you why. This is what is left of the work I've done on what would have been the latest course, Route 4 side. I alluded to this course on my latest Smash Kart video. As you can see, I've made quite a bit of progress on it. It's modeled, it's textured, it's even playable in-game. However, I want you to pay close attention to the road textures here. As you can see, in Blender, for the most part, they look fine, right? You can see the lines, they all line up. The sidewalk is a differential color. You can tell the difference between the sidewalk and the road. Now, let me show you what it looks like in-game. Okay, so now I am currently in-game, and you can see that if you look close enough, you'll see that the road textures actually misalign. Things don't look quite right. And ignore the map icon down there on the bottom right. I just wanted to give you a quick look at what this course was going to look like. Basically, as its name implies, it was going to emulate the layout of Route 4 side, or the layout of 4 side from Earthbound. And it's technically speaking a fully functional course, but it's not even close to finished yet. So yeah, it's a problem, especially with the misaligned textures. I didn't know what was going on. I've recompiled this course numerous times trying to change various things to see if I could fix the problem, but the same issues still remained. In Blender, the road textures look a-okay, but in-game they would end up misaligned. Naturally, I went to the Kart 64 Discord server to see if anybody else had any idea as to what could be causing the problem. The lead of the toolkit that I was using, Dead Hamster, figured out that it was happening because of something about an estimation of units when converting the course from Blender into the game. We tried several things to fix the issue, at least temporarily, but an immediate solution was never found, which left the progress of the mod halted in its place until, at the very least, the toolkit would get updated and hopefully the issue would be remedied. This issue, while small, was the catalyst for my decision to quit working on Smash Kart. Although, even if the problem had been fixed, or if it never even occurred in the first place, I still would have made this decision anyway. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering why. It's easily the most successful thing I've done and posted on this channel, and it's something that at that point I had been working on for almost a year. But see, that's just the thing. You want to know how long it took me just to get the first demo of Smash Kart out? 8 months. That's over half a year. I originally started this project on the night of Christmas of 2022. The trailer for the demo came out on September 10th, 2023. And that's when it started. When that first trailer released, I was ecstatic. Smash Kart had become one of the big discussion topics in the Mario Kart 64 modding scene. I eventually made a follow-up video fixing some of the demo's biggest issues, and it easily became the most viewed video on this channel. Things were looking way the hell up and it felt incredible. But the more time that had passed since that first trailer, the more I felt in over my head. I had set an expectation for quality and diligence that I could not and still cannot live up to yet. Sure, I was offered help from some very talented individuals like Ricky Spanish and Andrat, but a majority of the work for the project I was still going to have to do on my own. It got to a point where every day I fell under the obligation that I had to be making some kind of progress on the mod so I could get the next demo out sometime between the next millennium. More time passed, things changed, new projects arose. And it got to a point where the mod was in the back of my mind, but It was more of an annoyance than anything else. And then I started thinking, I know, how horrible. Why should I be spending all of this time trying to make this idea real by putting up with the outdated constraints of an over 20-year-old game, when I could just as easily use a much more robust and flexible game engine instead? Sure, I'd have to make the game from scratch, but I could design every detail and I wouldn't have to worry about things like how many colors I'm allowed to use. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not undermining the work of the Mario Kart 64 modding community. If anything, I highly respect them for their dedication to make so many new and cool things out of such an old game. It's just an inherent problem with modding that you're almost never going to have full control over what you can change unless you're some kind of tech guru. Besides, well, this is pretty obvious and it's not my biggest bother by any means. It's not like I'm going to be making a lot of money off the project. I was doing this strictly for fun. Except this isn't really fun anymore. So I'm not going to do it. It doesn't help that becoming an adult has pretty much put an end to any personal time I might have, since now I have to worry about things like cleaning and cooking and learning to drive and making a career and getting my own home, despite the fact that even the cheapest housing options cost your entire lineage, so I don't know how anybody expects a young goof to get a place of his own. It's a big worry. Because of that, I'd hate to say this, but I just don't have a lot of time for personal projects anymore. And any time I do have, I spend working on collaborative projects. That's why my upload schedule has been so sparse lately, for those of you that are curious. A sort of silver lining to all this, though, is that I kinda took my thoughts pretty literally. In fact, now, a buddy I met from the Overkart 64 Discord server, Golden Gem Games, and I are now working on a brand new original superhero-themed kart racer in the Godot engine. It's going to be heavily inspired by late 90s kart racers like Crash Team Racing, Diddy Kong Racing, and Mario Kart 64. So, I mean, we can count our blessings on that, right? Also, I'm glad to say that now that I don't have to worry about Smash Kart anymore, I can move on to so many other new projects that I've been excited to start. I've already made my first legitimate game in Dopamine Simulator. I also have a bunch of smaller ideas that I want to get going that focus on full game development. And, best of all, my baby, my golden ticket, Pinby, he is finally real. I have finally gotten this guy out of my brain, onto some paper, and into my computer. I first dreamt up this dude when I was 12 years old, and I am so excited to finally see what this guy can do. These are things I've wanted to pursue for a long time now, but just didn't have the experience or the knowledge to do so. And now that I do, I want to eventually make this channel focus on more original projects. That's not to say I'm never going to go back to mods. There'll still be a video that is modding related from time to time if the material in question is notable enough. But I've been wanting to break out of that Nintentuber style that my channel has appeared to have fallen into. You will be glad to know, though, that I'm not a complete monster. I actually rigged up and decided to release a hotfix that features the latest versions of the first demo's courses, as well as the rest of the roster that I have worked on. The fix still has a lot of issues. There could have been a lot more vertex shading, the AI is still super shoddy, especially on Zebus Sprint now, and all the characters still don't have their respective voices. But hey, at least Fox is in, right? The hotfix is linked in the description below if you want to check it out. With all that said, I would like to give a huge thank you to everyone in the Overkart 64 community who has helped me out with this mod over its lifespan. Dead Hamster, Lichronom, Golden Gem Games, Mount Zool, Andrat, Ox, Megamech, anybody else I might be forgetting. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for all your help. I hope it wasn't too saddening to see it end like this, but I promise that your help did not go unnoticed or in vain. And of course, I thank all of you folks for all the feedback and support that you've given me to help me get up to even this point. You are what make doing this kind of work worth it. Expect more content to come, as slow as that may be. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay goofy out there.